Hey everybody, hope you had a great week. We're going to switch things up a little bit this morning. We have communicated to you over and over again that we at Sycamore believe that God isn't just words on a page, He's not just stories in a book, but He's real. And part of that is He's constantly trying to get our attention and draw us into a deeper relationship with Himself. Now, I have to say that I've never heard the audible voice of God, and yet I'm convinced that He's spoken to me, and I sense that this week He spoke to me again. Now, more on that in a moment, but first I want to share a couple of opportunities that we've got coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to be partnering with Regeneration Church in Warren, Ohio, and with the 3DM Hub and Grace Gathering in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to host an online workshop called Naturally Supernatural. In this season of COVID-19, I have this strong sense that it's an important moment for our church. I think that a lot of the world is just kind of waiting, holding on until all of this just blows by and life gets back to normal. But what if this is the new normal? What if things aren't ever going to go back to the way that we knew them before? What I don't want to do is be a person or be part of a community that misses this opportunity. And so I think that this workshop is going to be one of the things that can catalyze our spiritual growth in this season of COVID-19 and prepare us to be even stronger, even more spiritually healthy and vibrant and more successful for months and for years to come. Now, this weekend is going to be set up a lot like our Alpha Weekend, if you were a part of that, with a session on Friday, October 2nd from 7 to 9 in the evening, and then a second session on Saturday morning, the 3rd, from 9:30 until noon. There will be live sessions led by one of the leaders at the 3DM Hub and a personal friend of mine, Paul McConaughey. There'll be breakout sessions where we can process in small groups and at a personal level what we sense God's saying to us and how this all applies to our lives. Paul's an amazing guy. I've learned a lot from him over the past few years. I'm really excited for you guys to meet him and to hear from him. And so again, I'm excited for this opportunity that the workshop provides. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out your phones right now, whatever it is that you use to keep your calendar. I want you to enter these times and dates, block them off, do what you got to do to be present for these. So there's more information that your group leaders are going to share with you today. Another thing that we're going to do on the 3rd, that Saturday evening from 7 to 8, is have a worship gathering. Now, we haven't had a worship gathering for a while, but I think that this is going to be an incredible opportunity to leverage all that it is that we experience in the workshop and to internalize it, to allow it to sink in, to go deeper and really grip our hearts. We've got some guests that are going to be joining us, guest musicians as part of the band. I think it's going to be just an awesome experience, an awesome environment for us. So again, mark your calendars for that too. All right, I got all the announcements out of the way. Now, back to what I sense God saying to me this past week. Jesus gave His followers one mission, and that was to make disciples. In other words, what I think He was saying by that was He was saying, tell people about me, teach them how they can follow me for themselves, and then train them how to train others to follow them. Followers of Jesus have been doing this for 2,000 years. It's how we still have the scriptures. We still know what it means to follow Jesus. And I want to be a church that continues that tradition, that steps into the mission of Jesus to make disciples. Now, I hope that you've been getting something out of these videos that we've been doing through this study of Galatians. When I came to know Jesus for real, I fell in love with the scriptures. I just love God's word. I love understanding it. And I love the opportunities that I get to help others understand it for themselves. And so as part of that, I've really enjoyed putting these together. But I also want you to know that there's nothing special about me. Now, I know some of you are just thinking to yourself, yeah, we already know that. But I think others of you might think, hey, there's something special about Nate, that he's the only one that can read the scriptures and understand them and give us prompts to understand what God's saying to us. Worse yet, I think that some of us sometimes can believe that the people up front or the people on video have, these secrets to the Bible, and we don't even try to read the scriptures for ourselves on our own. I don't want that to be our mentality. So this week we're going to break from our study of Galatians and we're going to take a look together in our groups at one of the accounts of Jesus' life. We're going to read the scriptures for ourselves. What's great though is that this account communicates a lot of the same truths that Paul was communicating in his letter to the Galatians, truths about grace and faith. Now remember that in very simple terms, grace means undeserved favor, and that faith is believing without seeing or knowing or being 100% sure of something. We've talked about how grace is a free gift and that with regard to God, grace is the gift of salvation. It's a gift of relationship with Himself. Salvation isn't something that we deserve, it's not something that we can earn, and it's given equally to all people. Faith, though, is how we take hold of that grace. It's taking God at His word. It's believing that Jesus really was who He says He was. It's that He really did go to a cross and die for us so that we can be forgiven. It's believing that we really have been adopted into God's family and that He loves us completely and He loves us independently of our performance. Faith is receiving the gift of God. It's unwrapping the gift of a relationship with Himself and taking hold of it, owning it for ourselves. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read John chapter 6, verses 1 to 15, and I'd like you to look for grace and faith in this account. And after you've read this passage together, what I'd like you to do is just start your conversation with these few prompts. First, where is grace in this passage? Second, how did Jesus' followers act in faith, or maybe how they didn't act in faith? And then third, how did Jesus model faith? Then after you've had a chance to do that, your group leaders are going to help you move towards a time of personal application, and you're going to walk through these few prompts together. First, is there an area of challenge, difficulty, or unknown in your life right now? Based on how you answer that, how do you sense God inviting you to trust Him even though it's hard? And then lastly, how might Jesus be encouraging you to take a step of faith in this area? I'm excited for us today. I'm excited for the ways in which God's going to speak to us personally, and I'm excited for the ways in which He's going to lead us to know Him more deeply, to trust Him more fully, and to live for Him more fully in the week to come. God bless.